morning and welcome everyone to our May 14th, 2024 Board of Commissioner meeting. Our first order of business, if you are able, please stand and join us for the pledge to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Bob, do we have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Well, Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda today.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a first and a second for the agenda approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the agenda review. First item is the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services land acquisition. Mr. Scott Goodwin. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning.
Please give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Scott Goodwin. My address is 1330 157th Avenue Northeast, Ham Lake, Minnesota.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. So bear with me, my first meeting ever in front of you. But we're here about the poly tract that we are trying to acquire, and we're looking for a certification from you today. I did send a package over a couple of weeks ago. And there it is.
There it is.
So yeah, it's 160 acres, well, 161.9 to be accurate. A nice acquisition for us.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a first and a second for the approval of the land acquisition. Is there any other properties that are, looks like you got some other stuff around there. Is there some other connecting wetlands and
There's that
reserves?
piece to the east there. You
Yeah.
can see.
Okay, there it is.
The farm is cut out. Other than that, I think we have some stuff in the works there, but nothing has come to fruition.
Okay. Well, this looks like it would be a good addition to the system.
It will.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? I have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That's simple.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this time we'll move on to our Judicial Ditch 15. Welcome to our preliminary hearing. Agenda review. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There is not, Mr. Chair.
Okay, no changes to the agenda. Is anybody interested in making a motion to approve the agenda?
So move. Second.
Got a first and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I will ask Brian to read our jurisdictional documents.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a landowner informational meeting held on May 3rd. Hearing notices for today were mailed out on May 1st. Notice was also posted outside of this building here today. And notice of public affidavit was ran in the Mankato Free Press on May 3rd. I have a quick memo and then a DNR Commissioner review report. So Judicial Ditch 15 improvement. Judicial Ditch 15 was first established in 1917 and is primarily located in Lincoln Township. Lewis County Drainage Authority is the drainage authority presiding over these Judicial Ditch 15 proceedings for the proposed improvements. On May 1st, 2023, a petition for improvement was received for Judicial Ditch 15. On June 6th, 2023, the Drainage Authority appointed engineer Charles J. Brandel to prepare a preliminary survey report for the proposed improvement to portions of Judicial Ditch 15. On February 28th, 2024, Mr. Brandel submitted the preliminary survey report to the Property Environmental Resources Department. The preliminary survey report was also submitted to Department of Natural Resources staff on February 28th, 2024. with confirmation coming from DNR staff on March 1 of '24 that they had received the report. At today's meeting of the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, we asked the Drainage Authority to approve of the drafted findings in order, including the appointment of viewers, and direct the engineer to prepare a detailed survey report and file that with the Drainage Authority once completed. I have the Department of Natural Resources, their commissioner's review for the PER. A letter from Ecological and Water Resources to the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority pertaining to the preliminary engineer's report for improvement of Blue Earth County Judicial Ditch 15. Blue Earth County Drainage Authority, gratitude is extended for providing the opportunity to evaluate the preliminary engineer's report for the proposed Blue Earth County Judicial Ditch 15 improvement project. The advisory report prepared on behalf of the Commissioner of Minnesota Department of Natural Resources serves to provide expert insights and recommendations adhering to the guidelines outlined in Minnesota Statutes 103E.255. JD 15 drains 3,168 acre watershed comprised of primarily rolling agricultural land. The improvement project proposes deepening and increasing the system's capacity while including proposed storage options to attempt reducing peak flows and improving water quality. One storage location is within the United States Fish and Wildlife Service land, and the other is within a steep private channel downstream of the current terminus of JD 15 system. According to the PER, the proposed wetland storage along Branch 1, Lateral A, entails restoring or deepening a 4.41 acre wetland basin, resulting in an additional 16.27 acre feet of theoretical storage capacity within the deepened wetland basin. The option involves utilizing wetland storage through excavation in an area with a high water table. If the excavation for the wetland is below the groundwater level, the wetland basin will fill to the existing groundwater level. It will only essentially provide flow through capacity and minimal water storage capacity. Please explain the following. How is deepening the wetland mitigating peak flows and total flow volumes at the outlet of Branch 1 through the modeling process? And how is any water storage made available in subsequent rainfall events? Additional storage in the proposed plan involves creating storage within the private ditch that serves as the system outlet by raising the existing crossing, replacing the current culvert, and implementing a control structure on the upstream side to enhance storage capacity within the private ditch. Has a formal agreement been reached with the landowner regarding the proposed storage basin's placement? Is it officially included in the petition? Who will be responsible for maintaining the structure? Furthermore, who assumes liability for it? Based on the projected peak flow and volume under the proposed conditions, the Watonwan River could experience increased sediment and nutrient loads from this project. The Watonwan River Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan contains the following pollution reduction goals for the lower Watonwan River planning areas. Nitrogen, 231,251 pounds per year. Phosphorus, 9,712 pounds per year. And sediment, 6,871 pounds per year. Please explain in detail how the proposed project advances or aligns directly with the comprehensive water plan's nutrient and sediment reduction goals. How will increasing this project's total drainage discharge volume help reduce altered hydrology and the cumulative impacts to the Watonwan, Blue Earth, and Minnesota rivers as downstream receiving public waters? Model review. The comments below are derived from the PER and the InfoWorks ICM model data. The comparison of peak flows for the proposed conditions indicates an average increase of 53%, 50%, 50%, and 53% for 5, 10, 25, and 50-year events, respectively, compared to existing conditions, particularly evident in the flow from tile outlets through a culvert on the private ditch. This significant surge in peak flow could lead to heightened scouring of the channel bed and banks. To address this concern, it's crucial to detail how the proposed control structure positioned upstream of the crossing on the private ditch will manage sediment and nutrients exiting the system, thereby preventing their introduction into the downstream Wanwan River. The comparison of flow volumes for proposed conditions illustrates notable changes compared to existing conditions, with increase of negative 60%, negative 51%, and negative 48% for 5, 25, and 50-year events, respectively, alongside a substantial increase of 151% for the 10-year event. Please clarify this trend and the underlying factors contributing to these alterations. Additionally, suppose overtopping occurs for events exceeding the 25-year threshold. In that case, it necessitates exploring the system's hydraulic capacity under such circumstances. It highlights potential vulnerabilities and the need for more appropriate mitigation measures upstream or overall for the project design. In summary, the following model information is requested before the FER. Model inputs at the JD15 terminus for outflow comparison without the proposed wetland restoration and water storage within the private ditch as mitigation practices. This will allow the DNR to thoroughly evaluate the drainage systems with and without including potential mitigation practices, which is necessary as information for a DNR permit decision. A comprehensive comparison of volume and peak flow at key locations. The JD15 outlet proposed storage on the private ditch, downstream of tile outlets on the private ditch, mainline tile outlet, and branch 1 tile outlet. This comparison will facilitate an evaluation of the sufficiency of outlet protection measures at these crucial points. Please get in touch with MN DNR drainage engineer Nair Gazanfarpour for further discussion regarding the hydrologic model review, public water impacts, and permitting requirements. The proposed drainage system is expected to increase peak flow and volume, potentially leading to the increased sediment and nutrient loads, and further altering the hydrology of the Watonwan River and downstream. A public waters work permit may be required for this project unless the zero net increase in the existing flow volume can be achieved through water storage or project repair options. Additionally, the proposed water storage plan to improve storage capacity within the private ditch includes a structure that, depending on the final design, may require the involvement of dam safety. Please keep Minnesota Rules 6115.0300 through 6115.0520, which specifies Minnesota Dam Safety Program, in mind as this project proceeds. The DNR should receive project updates regarding these proposed storage practices and whether they will be viable water storage options before a DNR permit requirement is decided for this project. Further refinement of the project design may address permitting concerns. Area hydrologist Katie Widgen can assist with ensuring that the project meets the criteria outlined in the public water work permit rules. Technical assistance and funding for conservation and alternative practices. DNR supports natural water storage integration in this project and advocates exploring options that result in no net volume, velocity, or peak flow increase at the JD15 terminus. This drainage improvement process presents ample opportunity to implement structural and non-structural best management practices within the ditch shed area. Moreover, the improvement process provides the opportunity to identify potential conservation practices and funding opportunities. We strongly encourage the Drainage Authority and landowners to collaborate closely with their local Natural Resources Conservation Service and County Soil and Water Conservation District offices, as well as the Greater Blue Earth River Basin Alliance, to identify soil health and water storage practices that align with the goals established in the Watonwan Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan. Please send the response to this letter, meeting minutes, the finding of fact, the viewer's report, and any order issued by the Drainage Authority regarding this proposed improvement to the DNR when they become available. Please submit these documents to region4drainage.dnr@state.mn.us. Regards, Todd Colander. That concludes my jurisdictional documents.
Thank you, Ryan, for that. So today at this meeting, we are going to present the engineer's preliminary survey report and receive comments from all parties in the purpose of improvement for Judicial Ditch 15. We've already heard from Ryan with the jurisdictional documents. After that, we'll hear from Chuck at the appointed engineer, and then we'll open it up for public comment. So if there's no questions or comments on the jurisdictional documents, I would entertain a motion to approve the documents.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the jurisdictional documents. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now I will ask the ISG staff to please come forward and give their engineer's report.
All right, good morning. So we've got a summary of the preliminary engineer's report. It's a similar presentation that we gave to landowners 2 weeks ago, slimmed down a little bit because we went through a lot of detail with them. Chuck Brandel with ISG.
I'm Josh James with ISG as well.
And Josh put the report together and was presented at the landowner meeting. We've talked a little bit. Can you guys hear me okay in the back? Okay, good. On the process, we're at the preliminary hearing stage, and really, it's the engineer's job to, is the project feasible? Are there any hurdles that we have? And to get feedback from landowners. And we have already received some feedback from landowners at the meeting we had in 2 weeks. So from a scheduling standpoint, we're at the PER hearing if this would move forward. Depending on the viewer's schedule, we'd have an FER submission later this year, hearings probably in the winter, and if everything would go well, construction potentially next year.
Yeah, I'll just go over some existing conditions. So JD15, we all pretty much know this, but it's within Lincoln Township. There's a little bit that's in Ceresco Township as well. Provides drainage to 3,168 acres, and there's an elevation difference of 47 feet. The main hydrologic soil classification is class A/D. And then the main land use is for agricultural purposes.
And what that means, for those that are familiar with western Blue Earth County, there's sandy soils here, but they're underlain by a very heavy clay, so they can infiltrate, but at some point they get very saturated.
The existing watershed map, if you can see it, okay, the blue area is the private ditch serving as the outlet for the system, and there are actually 2 tile outlets outletting into that ditch. The eastern one being branch 1, 36-inch HDPE, and the western one being the main line, and that's a 48-inch CMP.
One thing to note, U.S. Fish and Wildlife has purchased a large section of this system on the east side, and we are working with them, and that area, the tile have been abandoned. There are areas that are part of this improvement and potential repairs on their property, and we're working with them, and we'll kind of go over that plan.
Some background info, established in 1917, over 12 miles of subsurface tile, Some recent improvements, branch one, given that separate outlet in 2000, and then there's been multiple repairs, branch one, lateral C, main line, branch 5, and others. Also, several wetland restorations.
Because of the light soils here, there's been a lot of repairs to the system. The tiles tend to fill up with sediment when they start coming apart, and there's been a large amount of repairs. I actually wrote a report, I think in 2002, recommending this project, and we're finally getting to it now at this point, so. Some survey photos. This is from a drone flight that we did. Oops.
This is the U.S. Fish and Wildlife land, and you can see branch 1 tile is exposed. It's actually completely disconnected and just kind of floating there.
You could trip over it if you
Yeah.
walk through there.
Yeah. Kind of the same thing here. This is branch 2. The tile is exposed. It's concrete in that location. Some photos. Top left is the outlet ditch. The top right is the branch 1 tile that's disconnected. Bottom left is the main line outlet, and the bottom right is the branch 1 outlet.
Branch 1, that outlet was redone, and the system was split back in 97 or 98.
Yeah, something.
And we're going to use that improvement as an outlet for this improvement. So it was set up at that time to do what we're doing today. So.
Some televising photos. You can just see there's infiltration, sediment buildup in those top 2 photos there, and then some cracking and even collapsed tile on the bottom too. So the existing capacity of this system is, well, I should say we typically shoot for a 0.5 inch per day drainage coefficient. Almost this entire system is below that, and these values here, they don't actually take into account if the tile were full of sediment or if it were collapsed. So this is if the system was working as it should be.
So for the proposed design, the landowners asked for getting depth on the system where the tile is exposed, where it's coming out of the ground, shoot for a 1/2 inch drainage coefficient, but then we have to follow the criteria of 103E, looking at alternative practices, benefits versus costs, and an adequate outlet. We have had multiple meetings with the DNR, and we will go over their comments briefly, even though we did get them yesterday. The entire system is proposed to get to a 1/2 inch drainage coefficient, except for branch 1 lateral A, which goes through U.S. Fish and Wildlife land. And because of how that land is not 100% in production, tile are going to be broken and not connected there. We're proposing a little less drainage coefficient. Would still provide a 1/2 inch for all the lands draining into it, but a little less in that area. This is the proposed map, and we did go over this with landowners. The green lines represent the areas where the tile would be improved. We are looking at redoing an outlet structure that isn't part of the system, but we're proposing to add that. This blue area is a proposed wetland enhancement that we're looking at doing, and I'll go over that in a little bit more detail. Like I said, we did go over all these details with landowners on the tile sizing. As part of the project, we're looking at adding storage, and I'm just going to jump right to it here. On the western side of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife land, we've been working with Mike Malling from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and Tom Wenzel from Board and Water and Soil Resources. We did some soil borings out in this area, and this is where the tile's exposed. We're going to deepen the tile on the western side of this to provide an adequate outlet and get 5 feet of depth, and thus that would allow us to dig this down 5 feet. We did some soil borings. There was dry, sandy material in parts of it, dry clay material in other parts of it. One of the DNR's comments was that there's a high water table here. We did not see that when we dug holes. But we'll also have a tile system that's going to be down to that bottom of the pond, so it will have that ability to store water. This was not included as part of our model or part of the project, but on the eastern side of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife property, if we construct the storage basin on the western side, we'll have some material that we could do some berming and create some additional wetlands. So one of the comments from the DNR is looking at alternative practices, more wetlands. We're already in process with that. We met with U.S. Fish and Wildlife folks 2-3 weeks ago. And they're already looking at restoring this basin, which is, I think, on what's called the Meixel piece. So there'll be some additional work in the FER showing some additional wetlands that hopefully we can make part of the system. There is an area that's owned by Gordy Kuznia that is near this. We're proposing to fill a corner of that approximately 18 inches with topsoil to protect that from flooding with these wetlands around it. So, here's just a model review of the outlet. Currently, there's proposed to be a 48 and a 42 inch tile coming out of the system at this gravel road. Downstream, there's a 42 inch culvert that, in my opinion, maybe needs a little bit of attention. It's not part of the system. I would like to add that to the system, make it the appropriate size so we do not have issues downstream. But then we could also use that for maybe some temporary storage. We have not met on site with the landowners of this property, but we have talked to them. They are here. We're proposing to set up a meeting on site to kind of go over this before we move forward with this in the final engineer's report.
Yeah, so I'll just quick go over some modeling here. So per Minnesota statute 103E, we are required to develop a model for the 5, 10, 25, and 50 year storm. So this here is what we call a duration map. It's how long is water sitting on the surface of the watershed. And this is the existing condition for the 50-year storm. And here's the proposed. You can see slight differences in the time that water is staying on the surface. Some flow results. These were taken at the downstream of that crossing, so the confluence of the private ditch and the Watonwan River. And you can see we're looking at decreased flow rates, peak flow rates, I should say, from existing to proposed for the 5, 10, and 25 year storm, and then just slight increase in the 50-year storm. Same thing for velocity. We took these at the where the private ditch enters the Watonwan River, and we had virtually no change in peak velocities with a slight increase in the 50-year storm.
And that is due to a couple things. One, adding storage in the system, adding in 2 places, and now I think with the conversation we've had, hopefully we add a little bit more wetlands for really no extra cost to the system. And then, you know, we're gonna have to review that with the DNR and what they're looking at in our model. We did include damages as part of the costs. We put together a detailed cost estimate. To repair the system would just be over $3 million for the proposed improvement. And the improvement costs are 4.2 million, so really a difference of 1.2 million. It is a pretty significant project, adding the depth, adding the capacity, looking at some of those storage areas, protecting the outlet. I feel that at this point there should be enough benefit, but again, that's for the viewers to put together later. So. We did look at a multi-purpose drainage management plan. We have talked to landowners about practices they could do off of the ditch system, controlled drainage, but really we do not have control over that as the drainage authority. But we have outlined multiple wetland areas that could be enhanced. We're going to target this area here, like I've already stated. We did talk to the landowners on the western side of the system, and they were not interested in doing any wetland enhancements at that time, so we've taken those off the table, at least for the time being. So, quick response to the DNR comments. Again, we got those yesterday. There was questions about utilizing the wetland area and will it have a perched water table. There's been excavations near that area. We've done soil borings. We don't see that perched water table, so we anticipate that that storage volume will be there. We will have two 30-inch lines draining into that wetland area. It'll have an 18-inch tile at the bottom, and then that'll go up and then eventually go into a 36. But that 5 feet of area is going to be restricted by an 18-inch tile, so it will store water. The model review, we do know that we've had some conversations back and forth with the DNR modeling person, and they've had some issues downloading our model. So I think we just need to have a sit down and go through those results with them before the FER, and I don't have any issue with that. So, public waters, we're not expecting to increase peak flows, but we'll continue coordinating with the DNR about permitting. Fully understand that if the outlet is done and it does meet the dam safety requirements, we will apply for that permit. We've done those in the past on similar storage basins. The technical assistance and funding, I think we're doing a good job on this already. We've met with Bowser, we've met with U.S. Fish and Wildlife on doing some additional wetlands. If we do the wetland storage on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife property and construct these wetlands, there'd be no easement costs for the system, so that's essentially funding. It's already been paid for, but that saves some significant dollars. And we have talked with the SWCD about this project in the past, and we need to bring it up again if we move forward. So at this point, we recommend that the project will be a public benefit and contribute to public welfare, and should be considered for preliminary approval. It's a big project, a $4 million project, and we went through it very quickly. But again, we did go through things with landowners in a little bit more detail. So stop there for any questions.
All right. Thank you, Josh and Chuck. Any questions from the board at this point? Was it one meeting, or did you have a couple meetings for the landowner meetings?
We've had multiple landowner meetings prior to the petition.
Okay.
And then since the petition and this,
Okay.
we had one.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thanks, Josh and Chuck, for that report. At this time, I will open it up for public comment portion of the hearing. If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Please note the meeting is being recorded and there is a 5-minute limit. The county administrator will give you a 1-minute warning and let you know when you've allowed your time. In addition, the board may restrict or limit the time allocated to a person whose remarks become repetitive or not relevant to the matter under the consideration of the board. Is there anyone wishing to comment on JD 15 this morning? Please come to the podium. Come to the podium, please.
I'm Harlan Bergeman from Garden City, Minnesota.
Morning, Harlan.
And we're, my wife and I own the property in this private outlet, which I'm confused because they've been dumping water on us for 100 years. And now it's a private outlet, but I'm not opposed to drainage, but I do worry about maintenance of this bridge that they've talked on our property, because when they start flooding trees, you're going to get brush and trees that will die, and it's going to float down to this outlet and the culverts. And if you want to know a way to blow a culvert out in a hurry, put brush in front of it and you'll have that bridge gone in no time. So that's why we have concerns about maintenance, because I don't plan on the bridge they're talking is 300 and some thousand. I don't plan on paying for $300,000 bridges. So we haven't met with them and gone over there. My son and I have planted trees on the hillsides there, so we'll be losing trees or having to move them. So there's lots of different things to consider here.
Sure.
And But I just want the board to be aware that we have concerns. I'm not trying to stop the people from having drainage, but we don't want to maintain the outlet that's been there for 100 years on private property. Because we've had brush before that died. And a few years ago, we had high water. It washed down there and plugged up the culvert. And like I say, we've replaced that private bridge twice since we bought the farm. So we want to make sure that that's, maintenance is going to be part of this ditch system. Thank you.
Good question, thank you. We will, I'm gonna let Chuck just respond to that right away, just so it, because this sounds pretty.
Couple things. That bridge was not part of the petition. But when our job is to look at the adequacy of the outlet, when I saw that undersized crossing, there's a problem. We should address it. And I think my proposal in the report is to make it part of the drainage system.
Correct.
So that way, if it ever has issues plugged up or needs to be repaired, it'd be the drainage system's cost to replace it. And just one clarification, it's $130,000 for the cost for it.
For the bridge.
And it would replace a 42 with a 60-inch tile, but we'd build it up, so large events, it holds some water back. So,
Okay.
but we are gonna meet with Mr. Bergerman on site, survey the elevation of the trees out there and see if we could make it work or not. So,
Perfect, thank you, Chuck. Did you hear all that, Mr. Bergerman, that Chuck reported? Yes, I did. You hear it? Good, all right. You guys will have your meeting and, but from my understanding, that'll be part of the ditch system, so it won't be your responsibility anymore, but they'll clarify all that with you when they meet. So, thank you very much for that comment. Anyone else wishing to comment on the project in front of us today? Last time, anyone wishing to comment on Judicial Ditch 15 preliminary survey report? Okay, hearing none, I will close the public comment portion of the hearing. Is there any questions or comments from the county board at this point? Looks like a big project, Chuck, and thank you guys for the meetings with the landowners. I always appreciate that when that happens. If there's no questions or comments, nothing else from the staff, I would entertain a motion to accept the draft findings and orders approving the engineer's preliminary survey report and order detailed survey report and appoint the viewers for this proceeding.
Move to approve.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This concludes our Judicial 15 preliminary hearing. Thank you everyone for your time and input. Thank you, Ryan and Craig.
Well, I got more for you.
I know you guys.
Who's thanking you before you?
We'll give them just a minute to clear the room out a little bit.
Yep.
We'll get started on that. You're gonna keep us busy the next few days here.
Yep, today and
Next few
the
months.
11th, yeah. It's good though, progress.
All right, with that, we will move down to item number 5, our drainage. We have Craig Austinson and Ryan Hineker still up here with us. And we'll start with Judicial Ditch 23. We're setting hearing.
Okay, I'll have 4 of these in a row, starting with, like you said, Judicial Ditch 23, for the redetermination of benefits. Judicial Ditch 23 watershed has approximately 839 benefited acres and is primarily located in Sterling Township. On May 7 of 2019, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority ordered a redetermination of benefits. Viewers were appointed in order to create an updated benefits and damages listing and a viewer's report. A copy of the drafted viewer's report for the redetermination of benefits was submitted to Blue Earth County Drainage Management staff on February 26, 2024. An action requested for today, we request the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority to set a date of June 11th, 2024 at 9 a.m. for a hearing on the proposed viewer's report for Judicial Ditch 23 redetermination of benefits.
Thank you, Ryan. Do I have a motion to accept that hearing date?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to accept it. Motion and a second to set the hearing date for judicial ditch 23 for June 11th, 9 a.m. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, moving right along, judicial ditch 39. Again, redetermination of benefits. Judicial ditch 39 watershed has approximately 1,373 benefited acres and is primarily located in Sterling Township. On May 7th of 2019, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority ordered a redetermination of benefits. Viewers were appointed in order to create an updated benefits and damages listing and viewers report. A copy of the drafted viewers report for the redetermination of benefits was submitted to Blue Earth County Drainage Management staff on February 26th, 2024. Today we request the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority set a date of June 11, 2024 at 9 a.m. for a hearing on the proposed viewer report for Judicial Ditch 39, redetermination of benefits.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Do I have a motion to accept the June 11th at 9 a.m. for judicial ditch 39 hearing?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries for judicial ditch 39 hearing.
Judicial Ditch number 40, redetermination of benefits. Judicial Ditch 40 watershed has approximately 1,629 benefited acres and is primarily located in Shelby Township. On May 7th of 2019, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority ordered a redetermination of benefits. Viewers were appointed in order to create an updated benefits damage listing and a viewer's report. A copy of the drafted viewer's report for the redetermination of benefits was submitted to Blue Earth County Drainage Management staff on February 26th, 2024. Today we request the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority set a date of June 11, 2024 at 9 a.m. for a hearing on the proposed viewer report for Judicial Ditch 40, redetermination of benefits.
A motion to set the date for judicial ditch 40.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the hearing on June 11th, 9 a.m. of 24 for judicial ditch 40.
Our last setting hearing here, Judicial Ditch 45 for the redetermination of benefits. Judicial Ditch 45 watershed has approximately 1,625 benefited acres and is located in Mapleton Township. On April 9th, 2024, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority approved a corrective findings in order initiating a redetermination of benefits. Viewers were appointed in order to create an updated benefit and damages listing and viewers report for Judicial Ditch 45. A copy of the drafted viewers report for the redetermination of benefits was submitted to Blue Earth County Drainage Management staff. Today we request the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority set a date of June 11, 2024 at 9 a.m. for the hearing on the proposed viewers report for Judicial Ditch 45, redetermination of benefits.
Thank you, Ryan. Do I have a motion to accept the hearing for judicial ditch 45?
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the public hearing on June 11th, 9 a.m., 2024 for judicial ditch 45.
A change of pace here. I have a repair report I'm seeking approval from the Drainage Authority for pertaining to County Ditch 53. Consists of replacing about 2,000 feet of tile in Section 4 of Vernon Township. I solicited multiple quotes for this repair. The winning quote goes to Stevens Bobcat and Backhoe at $35,343.60. I'm seeking approval for that today.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second for County Ditch 53 repair report. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for County Ditch 53 report of $35,342.60.
We got another item here. This is regarding the petition for improvement of County Ditch 63. The Blue Earth County Ditch 63 watershed is 1,300 acres in size and is in Decoria Township. A petition for improvement was received on April 29th, 2024. Attorney KLR Van Bruggen of Rinke Noonan reviewed the petition and found it to be adequate. 2 actions are requested today. At today's meeting, the Blue Earth County Drainage Authority requesting an order to appoint Charles J. Brandel of ISG to prepare a preliminary report in accordance with Minnesota State Statute 103E. And the second item is a petition is requesting separate maintenance, so therefore we are also requesting an order to appoint viewers to prepare redetermination benefits as part of the improvement.
Okay, we'll take the first one first, to appoint the engineer. Got a
So
motion to appoint ISG.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second. Got a motion and a second to appoint ISG to County Ditch 63. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. And then viewers. Have a motion to appoint viewers.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries to appoint viewers to County Ditch 63.
All
Thank you,
right.
Craig.
I've got the last item pertaining to County Ditch 77, a 103E.021, a violation. Violation notice was sent to property owner Blaine and Renee Phillips, family of Revocable Living Trust, on September 18th, 2023. The violation notice sent was for a 103E.021 perennial vegetation violation observed on September 15th of 2024. The violation notice, excuse me, that's actually a clerical error. It should be 2023, my bad. The violation notice provided clear instructions to bring the violation into compliance. The notice, which is in your handout today as Exhibit A, also included an action plan to be implemented should the violation not be brought into compliance by April 30th of 2024. As of May 1st, 2024, no correction to the identified violation areas has been made to the portions affecting County Ditch 77. Today, we request the Drainage Authority for CD 77 approve of the drafted findings in order authorizing staff to secure a contractor to remove trees, reseed, and make any other necessary corrections to bring described violation areas into compliance under 103E Minnesota Drainage Statute. We also ask that the expenses incurred for the work will be allocated to the landowner, with possible other fees and penalties as a drainage lien also part of the drafted findings in order. That is all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the buffer violation notice?
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the County Ditch 77 buffer violation. Thank you very much.
All right.
Good job, guys.
For all your work.
Thank you,
Thank you, gentlemen.
Enjoy the day.
You too.
All right, we'll move on to item number 6. We've got Lisa Malinsky here, our Finance Director. Good morning.
Morning, Lisa.
morning.
We've got a few adjustments to make, huh?
Yes, it's always good news when the audit is almost complete,
Yes.
and we just have some adjustments, audit adjustments that we need to be approved. I just want to thank all the employees of Blue Earth County for supplying us with the information and answering all the questions. This is probably one of the soonest that we've gotten the audit complete. It's always a good feeling when that's done. And of course, our auditors did a very good job and in a timely manner. So the first approval that we need is for operating transfers. This is where we're transferring funds between different funds, like the general fund is paying interest to other programs and other funds as an example of some of these transfers. Most of these have been budgeted. So I'd like to have approval on the operating transfers for
I'll move
2023.
approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the operating transfers. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the operating transfers.
Thank you. The next is for the revenue and expenditure budget adjustments for 2023. Some of these changes for the building and capital fund, we had over $1 million that we received for public safety aid, which was a nice surprise. And for expenditures, like for the ditches, you just never know when the repairs are gonna come up. So sometimes you need to do budget adjustments to have more budget for expenditures for ditches, as an example of that.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept
Sure.
the revenues and expenditure budget?
I'll move the
adjustment?
revenue and expenditure budget.
Second.
Got a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the expenditure and revenue budget for 23.
And the final is other financing sources and uses, budget adjustments. One of the change request here is that we budgeted to do bonding in the ditches, and that's actually been pushed off into this year, that we'll be doing some bonding. So that's why there's an adjustment there.
I move to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the other financing sources budget adjustments for 2023.
Thank
you,
you.
Lisa.
Thanks.
Always good to see you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll move on down to Public Works. Mr. Ryan Tilges, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. How's everybody today?
Good. Looks like you're getting spooled up and ready to get to work.
We're already at work, but yeah, it's gonna get busier.
You're born ready.
I like that, we're born ready.
Finding more and more roads closed down. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I was just thinking about that as I was running to a doctor's appointment up at Wickersham. It's gonna be even worse. When 22 closure goes in place to repair the bridge and then the roundabout, and then obviously we'll be closing Victory Drive soon, and Riverfront now closure, and then future off-ramp of Highway 14 on the 169 closure. It's gonna be hard to get places, but we're in our second of our 2 seasons in Minnesota is winter and road construction, right? So make hay while the sun shines. The first order of business is consideration of bids for the 2024 bituminous maintenance overlay contract. This is for state aid project 007603014 and others. I'm passing around a copy of the project bid abstract that includes the detailed bid results. From the 3 bids that were received, we had an engineer's estimate of $3,233,807.22, with Minnesota Paving and Materials as the low bidder at $2,668,912.97, which is 17.47% under our engineer's estimate. Very surprised and pleased to see those bid results. The second bid was Ullin Brothers at 1.6% over the estimate, and then Central Specialties 14.4% over the estimate. So a considerable spread on the bid results. Surprising to see them that far apart. Over 30% difference is not common on a bid like this, where it should be pretty much down the pipe for bituminous paving. With that being said, we have reviewed the bid prices. MPM has had the lion's share of our work historically, based obviously on being located out of Mankato and having resources with the aggregate quarries and paving plant, et cetera, and the equipment. I would recommend award to Minnesota Paving and Materials.
I'll move that.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the contract. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the contract with Minnesota Paving and Materials.
All right. And I'm going to keep rolling with the good news before the tide shifts. The second item for consideration is the MnDOT agreement number 1056673, Local Road Improvement Program Grant Agreement for CSAH 82, State Aid Project 007682010. This is a competitive grant that's been awarded to Blue Earth County based on our application for the reconstruction of CSAH 82 Victory Drive that's going to be closing this June. We were successfully awarded $1.5 million towards the construction of that project of state bonding dollars through the Local Road Improvement Program grant. This was the highest scoring project in District 7 for the county projects, so we got the full amount. There were other counties that were recipients. Some did receive full amounts for the grant, some only received partial, so I was very happy to see that. With that, the agreement has our standard MnDOT boilerplate language, terms of the grant agreement. There's a page for completion for signature by the board chair and administrator, and also included is a resolution. So I would request approval of the grant agreement and resolution as it's provided in the board packet.
I'll move that.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the local improvement grant and agreement. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries for the grant.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes, and I actually testified and used this as a point in front of the Senate Transportation Committee about a month ago, that these state grants like this $1.5 million we were awarded for the Local Road Improvement Program are tremendously beneficial to Blue Earth County, because not only does it benefit an intersection that carries over 20,000 vehicles per day, serves Mankato's central artery and as well as the Mankato East High School area, but this also in turn allows us to open up local dollars that we were going to invest in that project and move them out into the rural parts, and we'll be chasing after replacement of about 6 box culvert projects or small bridges that aren't eligible for state bridge bond dollars. So we're able to get a lot of work done out in the rural parts as a reciprocal of receiving these grant dollars for the work in our urban areas. So it all is tied together, and the money can't be seen as just going into the urban areas, because yes, this money is going into the Mankato urban area, but it benefits rural Blue Earth County as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you pushing out to the rural area with the excess funding. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a lot of need. All right, action item number 3. This one is frustrating. Consideration of bids for purchase of 2 tandem trucks. We received 3 bids for the purchase of 2 tandem trucks, with the Truck Center as the low bidder at $577,424 for 2 Freightliner tandems. This does not include a trade-in for either unit. The reason is because there's been significant manufacturing and delivery delays, as well as the provision of the snow equipment. And because it's been now expounded from months to years, the dealers didn't want to give us a trade-in price on our vehicles, because 2 years of use, it's difficult to determine what the value is going to be. So we determined that when we receive the trucks, for the new trucks, we'll actually sell the other trucks online. And I'll get to that a little bit later, but it makes estimating the bid price fairly challenging. We also anticipate that the county can get more by selling our units outright than bidding via the trade-in. Overall, we're still seeing considerable cost escalation, and our cost history I wanted to provide the board. In 2021, we purchased 2 tandems for almost $297,000, so about $167,000 a piece. In 2022, we bid 2 tandems, and they came in at $495,000, or about $247,000 a piece. So they took a dramatic jump in 2022. Those were internationals without trade. We're still waiting to get those 2. And once we received, we'll sell the other 2 trucks that we had held on min bid. And if you may recall, this is the year that we had budgeted for 1 truck in 2022 and 1 truck in 2023. The board authorized the purchase of both trucks, knowing it was going to be a dramatic delay in receiving them. So thank you for that. We still haven't gotten them yet, knowing when they would even be built. So in 2024, we're here with 2 tandems bid. The Freightliner's price is provided in the board packet without trade-in. Once we receive those, again, we'll sell 2 trucks on min bid. So hope the increases would level out from such a sharp spike from 21 to 22, but another almost $44,000 a piece from 22 to 24. We did increase our budget for them from $383,000 in 22 to 23, which is about $190,000 each in 22 and $193 in 23. So we went from $383 total for 2 to $480,000 for 2 in 2024, and we were still shy of the target. So I just wanted to kind of express our frustration with it and the difficulty in estimating where the prices are going to be, you know, year plus in advance. Historically, trade amounts over the past years, in 2021, one tandem was traded in for $17,000 and the other for $20,000. In 2020, received $20,000 for each 2 tandems on trade. And so with that being said, we anticipate a much higher value for our current tandems that we'll be getting rid of due to the overall price increase for tandems. And we've historically done much better on min bid than we have trading equipment in when we've sold it outright. We won't know exactly how much trade-in, exactly how much over budget these 2 tandems will be until we sell the other 2 on min bid. We're hoping to get about $50,000 to $60,000 for both. We are currently $97,000 over budget on these 2 trucks, again without trade or selling the other 2 tandems, so that would be reduced to, let's say, $40,000 to $50,000, depending on what we get for selling those 2 on min bid.
How old are the other ones? 10 years old?
Oh, I think I don't have the years in front of me.
Yeah,
I
we don't
think
have
we're still at
reports,
about
so.
12. We're
Okay.
striving to get to 10-year interval between, so that
Mhm.
we can preserve a little bit more of our resale value. And honestly, it's more about trying to avoid major repairs,
Sure.
which we start running into as we've
Yeah.
looked at the life cycle of those trucks. Your years 10 to 12 is where we start running into major significant issues that are costly.
And you sell them with all the equipment on them, right?
Yes.
Because you get all new equipment for the new trucks.
Correct.
Has that gone up quite a bit?
It's been included with
It's
the
included,
bid.
okay.
Yeah, so I don't have it broken
No,
out
that's all right.
separately.
Yes.
The bid we just opened for the 2 tandems will be submitted for order this September with a build date of February to April of 2025, so it's getting better. Chad did confirm this from Freightliner, and if there are other orders that are backed out of, ours would move up in the cycle.
Okay.
But again, the problem is too, after we get the truck, then it goes and it sits in line to get the snow plow and box and stuff put on it, so it's frustrating in that regard.
Are the reasons for the delays and all that, I don't know, that sounds like, does it go back to like COVID and all that?
Yeah, a lot of those manufacturing labor
Yeah.
shortfalls, conductors, you know, everything that went into all the delays we saw with reduced manufacturing during the COVID
Mhm.
pandemic are still lingering. And
Yeah.
obviously the prices, we don't anticipate them coming down. We just hope they would plateau.
Yeah, they should.
All right. What, do you have an ETA on the other ones we ordered then, or?
I don't off the top of my
Yeah.
head, no, but they should be theoretically coming sooner than later. We had hoped to sell the other 2 units when we receive those this year. That we
Yeah,
get
that'll give you an idea what these other ones will bring.
Correct.
I think you'll be surprised, or I think we'll be surprised what we get for them.
I hope we're pleasantly surprised,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Because the used equipment's getting to be very expensive too, so.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so you're looking for a motion for 2 Freightliners for $577,424?
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to buy 2 new Freightliners. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Action item number 4 is consideration of bids for a motor grader. We received 2 bids one from John Deere, one from Caterpillar. That's a duplicate of that one. John Deere was the low bid with a 772 GP 6-wheel drive unit. With trade-in and adjustment to meet Blue Earth County specifications, the John Deere was $363,002.81. The Caterpillar 150 was $390,460. This unit is also over budget. The budget amount was $335,000. The majority of this I can't talk this morning. The majority of this budget overage is covered by the tractor backhoe bid that was opened previously. The tractor backhoe bid came in at $99,250, which was $30,750 below the budgeted amount of $130,000. So these 2 end up coming out as a wash. The tractor backhoe was obviously under the board approval threshold, so Bob was able to approve that purchase. So with that, I would recommend purchase of the John Deere motor grader.
Move to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the new grader. Any questions, discussion? At some point, we're gonna think about selling those outright too. Or motor graders a little,
We certainly could, and what we've talked about is could we put an option in there where we reserve the right to try to sell it for above and beyond their trade-in, to keep them honest. I think we've done that on smaller pieces of equipment, and we could try it out, and for what we're getting out of it, it might be worth a
Well,
shot.
and do we have an extra grader at this point, or?
We do have one
We do
extra
have one.
because obviously we have 10 total in the fleet. And the 9th one is always kind of an old one that's held over, and in case one breaks down, so that we have a machine for each of our operators to.
So how do you rotate out the 9th one? That's a really
That's
old
usually the one
machine?
that's traded in, yeah.
Yeah, so you keep rotating. So
Correct.
you're rotating the 10th machine out now, and you'll move this one into it. So that's what's really on here.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. Any other questions? Hearing none, I have a motion and a second to buy a new road grader for $363,002.81.
I'll move it.
I think I got the motion right?
You have a
All in
motion and a
favor,
second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries.
All right, thank you. Action item number 5 is consideration of bids for the purchase of 7 EV pickups. We advertised these, and we received 2 bids, both Ford dealers. Harrison Ford, the dealer, not the Star Wars actor, who was the low bid over Nelson Auto Center, bidding a Lightning XLT for a unit price of $67,298.32. When we apply tax, title, license fees, we come to a total purchase per each truck price of $73,029.58, or a total purchase price for 7 trucks of $511,207.06. They did bid different units, but again, we had specified what we wanted. The XLT, I think the Flash was slightly a step above the Lightning that Nelson bid. Interestingly enough, Cottonwood County, was running this in parallel with us, bid theirs, and they received the Pros, which was a cheaper version down, for like maybe $1,500 less. And the half of the counties in their deal wanted the XLTs, not the Pros. So I think we came out better on this deal, the counties that were partnered with us. And just as a reminder for the board, this is 80% federally funded. So with that being said, this will end up costing the county approximately $14,600.
For
And
one.
remaining
For the one we get.
$58,428 will be federally funded.
So we receive one out of this and then.
We'll get one of the 7, and then we have an agreement with those
6
6
other
other
counties.
counties that we
6 other
approved the agreement
counties.
with, that they'll pay for their local share of their trucks, and we'll basically cash flow the federal dollars.
Very good.
Okay.
Move to approve then.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Discussion? I think you're better off buying the XLT anyways, just for resale value or
That
trade-in
was-
value
was-
later.
you're
You
right.
buy the stripped down ones, they lose value so fast. I don't know if it's worth going to the Flash, but I don't know what the Flash has that the XLT don't. But yeah, certainly with power windows, locks, a couple of those little amenities will just have higher resale values.
That was the thought of the other counties, you're right.
All right, I got a motion and a second to buy some new Ford pickups from Harrison Ford for $511,207.06. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries.
We did help, just as an aside, our PDR department applied for the same grant through the MAPO, and I believe will be awarded it as well for purchase of a pickup, so. Yeah, we'll be able to help them with the specifications, and we helped them out with our grant application, so. It is a great opportunity, and I did just see Chevy came online, just at the last minute. They didn't put a bid in on these, but I think if we were to pursue this again for a second EV pickup, if the grant's still available, we'd at least have other alternatives that could be
Sure.
bid head-to-head, so.
I didn't know Chevy was making an EV.
Yep, they just got permission to start, I think, taking orders from them, so.
Wow.
But I'm not sure if the more
Have to
entry-level
look into
units are
that.
available yet. Informational updates, CASA 13 on
We're
our
gonna buy,
construction.
we're gonna buy,
Pardon me?
do we got another quote here, or I don't have the agenda here? Hold on.
No, that should be
Okay.
it. Did we get the?
There's a
full
lawnmower,
vote?
Yep.
lawnmower on here.
A lawnmower?
I don't remember looking this up.
Lawnmower? I don't see a lawnmower in it.
Oh, it's tabulation sheet, never mind.
It's okay.
And me worried for a second.
I was
That's right under the,
All right, project updates, County State Highway 13 from 169 to Casat 1. Starting in 23, the bridge deck has been poured and is curing. Mathewitz is working on the grading of the road. They'll be working on the approach panels for the bridge this week. Gas line relocations are also concurrently happening. On 11 from the West County line to 6, road was closed Monday, May 6th. Crews are stripping topsoil and starting drainage pipe work. Casat 26 trail work is anticipated to begin in the coming weeks, so we're wrapping up that trail completion along the road reconstruction project from last year along Wickersham Health Campus down to North Riverfront Drive. And then Victory Drive, Casat 82 from south of Hoffman Road to Fair Street. The Dirt Merchant Incorporated is the prime contractor for that. May begin doing some tree clearing outside of the road over the next few weeks as it fits with a couple of other projects in the area, including Riverfront Drive reconstruction. And road closure is scheduled for June 10th. The County State Highway 29 bridge replacement project plans are submitted to the MnDOT Central Office. MnDOT's Cultural Resource Unit requested re-review due to slightly expanded project limits, so that's very frustrating. That's pushing that project into the fall. We're awaiting approval to bid the project. County Road 146, we received bridge bonding to pay for the majority of the bridge replacement project. Plans are approved. Bids are to be open May 29th for June board consideration. Casat 5 from Riverfront Drive to Summit Avenue. American Engineering Testing in Blue Earth County will be performing concrete pavement repair evaluation this week. That's starting today and should be scheduled to go through Thursday with partial lane closures for staff safety. So I'll actually be going out there tomorrow and walking through portions of the project with AET. We wanted to use this as an opportunity to learn what they're looking for concrete pavement repair evaluation, so that we could perhaps do these by ourselves in the future, or just increase our knowledge base. And Bolton Mink is continuing with data collection and beginning preliminary design for that project. We will be planning to meet with ADM probably within the next month or so to talk about access through the construction project and just overall access and construction impacts. It's obviously a very busy facility, and they've reached out to us, and that we were both thinking along the same lines. 15 and 28 in St. Clair, we're meeting with the city and their consultant engineer to discuss the project roles and responsibilities and discuss solicitation of engineering RFP. Casat 10 from the West County line to Casat 20, project design is at 60%, and you're all invited to an open house meeting tonight from 4 to 6 p.m. at Public Works Department. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't anticipate significant turnout because we've already been out meeting ahead of time with the more high-impact landowners where we're relining portions of the road and the bridge, and we've got pretty good concurrence out there already. You know, and that's generally how we do these. Is we like to meet with folks that we're going to be impacting and kind of walk them through what we're proposing prior to presenting it to everybody. You know, so if we get an absolute heck no and we get good logic behind it, we can take that into consideration. Try to revise our design if potential, if possible. We're also working on the Casat 40 slope repair southwest of Amboy. The design is close to complete. We need to start working on right-of-way acquisition and project memorandum documents. Again, we received $320,000 of federal funds towards completion of that project, so 80% funded federally. Complicates it, but it goes a long way toward project completion. That was another competitive one we were able to successfully apply for. And then County State Highway 10 from Vernon Center to 1 mile east, including replacement. The bridge is been sent out to consultants for proposals to be submitted for consideration of the county board in June. I do want to just maybe make sure that the board is aware, we've talked about it before, that bridge is a pin and hanger bridge, and it means that it's fracture critical. So at the midpoint of the bridge, there's actually a pin and a hanger holding the midpoint of the bridge span up. And there's only 2 of those, so obviously if one fails, the bridge fails. That bridge is not eligible for state bridge bond dollars based on its sufficiency and its condition. However, it's narrow, it is deteriorating because of its fracture critical nature. We want to get it off of our system. And we believe that the road realignment and the widening of the road is also going to necessitate that. So we are proposing to use either a combination of our county stated highway local option sales tax and/or local levy dollars to replace that bridge as part of the project. We're going to be bidding box culverts on 174 and 177, opening them on June 5th for board consideration following week. And then also two box culverts on County Road, County State Highway 2 and County 1 on County Road 157 will be bid later this summer as well. So again, that's those dollars that we were able to turn around from the Victory Drive project. Maintenance crews have been busy replacing and repairing tile intakes and culverts, crack sealing our roads prior to seal coating. They're going to start mowing shoulder cuts soon in the next week or so. We started a gravel resurfacing contract with Lawrence. We have the hauling contract this year that's about 25% complete. We wanted to get that done before the Highway 22 and Augusta Drive roundabout project starts so that we're not forcing them to incur a considerable delay in the detour. Crews have started Durapatching potholes. We'll start our first round of dust control application this week. The front desk has been very busy with folks coming in last minute to pay their dust control so that they can get it applied. And then we're placing emulsion on some shoulders and under guardrails with the distributor for erosion and weed control. And then last but not least, the Rappahannock Dam update was provided in the board packet. Nothing terribly significant. We did receive approval of the dam safety surveillance monitoring report, and we will have a dam safety inspection, I believe, next week already. So not a lot else happening on the front.
All right.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions or comments for the engineer?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ryan.
Thank you. You have a good week.
You too.
All right, we'll hear from our county attorney, Mr. McDermott.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you. As per usual, the report speaks for itself. Just a couple of things that I'd bring to your attention are a couple of examples of the ongoings in the office. I know that probably most of you are aware of the numerous tax petition filings that have come into the office so far this year, and we should be past the deadline by now and have a firm number. But there's numerous apartment complexes that are challenging the tax assessments. And then just an example, last week we had 2 attorneys scheduled for trial all week in a overdose death case. You know, recently they had the drug task force had probably one of the largest busts in southern Minnesota of the fentanyl pills and whatnot. That is an example. That was 2 attorneys taken out of their normal routines, and it gets expensive when we try these cases because we had to bring in an expert from Pennsylvania that's required from the chain and whatnot, and that bill alone is over $8,000. So you'll see a few of those. We've had a few of those in the past, and we've got a few more coming this year too. So any questions, concerns, or comments, please let me know.
Thank you, Pat.
Yep.
Thanks,
We
Pat.
appreciate all the work you do for that, as much as it pains to spend the money on it. I appreciate the law enforcement getting them off the street and you guys prosecuting the people that brought them here, which is very important. All right, with that, we'll move down to administration. Mr. Bob Meyer.
Well, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is the county board minutes for April 23rd.
I move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
Next are the bills for the 3 weeks indicated.
I'll move the bills.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the bills. Any questions? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries to pay the bills.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, item number 15 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. I have a couple of items for the board's consideration today. First is the appointment of Ryan Tilgis as the Blue Earth County engineer for a 4-year period commencing May 1st of this year through May of 2028. This is a statutory requirement for the county engineer for a 4-year term.
Didn't Ryan want to stick around and see how that vote turned out?
Yeah, I was wondering how he left
Was he
really
out in the
fast.
hallway listening in, or?
A confident young man.
I would move to approve.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second to reappoint Ryan as the engineer. Any discussion?
All I can say is Ryan is well known throughout the state of Minnesota as being one of the top engineers, county engineers, and we are certainly lucky to have him as our county engineer.
Agreed.
Yeah, Ryan does a good job. We've, Blue Earth County has been in that arena for a long time.
Yes, we have.
Previous engineer and now Ryan,
Yep.
so. All right, I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries to reappoint Ryan Tilges as the county engineer.
The next item is a recommendation from staff for the approval of an employer-paid premium for employee-only dental insurance for our benefit-eligible non-union employees. This would be roughly a $40 a month benefit for those non-union employees that are part of mostly our leadership team, but does include some other non-union employees. This is just part of an effort to create additional retention opportunities, and so bringing it here today for the board's consideration.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? We talked about this at a work session for a few minutes. Thought it would be a good way to entice some people to stay or come work for Blue Earth County. If there's no other discussion, I would enter, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the dental insurance for the non-union employees.
Well, thank you. The informational items I'll run through very quickly. We had a change of an employment status for a part-time correctional officer to a full-time status. And then we've initiated recruitment to refill that part-time position. And we had a change of employment status for a clerical specialist 1, a temporary part-time position in our sheriff's department, making that position part-time but permanent position. And then we filled a number of correctional officer positions in our jail, which is a good thing. We've needed additional staff there, so you'll see those 4 listed there. Then we did have a resignation of a probation officer in our community corrections department, and I've initiated recruitment to refill that position. We did fill a temporary probation officer 1 position in the corrections department. We also have filled a social worker in our child protection area of human services. Then we had a change of a start date for a GIS and technology specialist, moving their hire date back a few weeks. We also received a resignation of our network administrator, long-term employee, and so we are initiating recruitment to refill that position. And then lastly, we filled a technical support specialist position in our IT department. Be happy to answer any questions the board might have on any of those HR-related issues.
Questions or comments?
No?
Okay.
All right, item number 16 in the packet then is a beneficiary grant agreement. This is related to some of our American Recovery Plan funds that the county has been managing. As the board will recall, we received around $13 million of ARP, as we refer to them, funds, and we have been spending those funds down over the last couple of years. We had built a budget that included some money for housing-related services, a housing project. To this point, we haven't secured all the other funding for that project, but this grant agreement would be used in the future by Trellis. They have agreed to partner with local county, city partners that are working on a housing project, but this grant agreement commits those funds so that those funds can be available when a project comes to fruition here in this area. There is some risk in granting these dollars because Trellis really becomes able to use those funds, but they have been a good partner for the county in the past and have been at the table as we've been developing a housing project that we hope to receive tax credit funding later this year. And so if that happens, we will have the resources to complete that multi-unit housing project. So we're asking the board's approval today to this grant agreement that would allow us to commit those funds and transfer those funds to Trellis in the amount of $2 million.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to enter into a grant agreement with Trellis. Any discussion? Again, we talked about this at length at a work session, had good discussion. I think it's a good way to move forward and try to get some of that housing that we need in this area. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the grant agreement with Trellis.
Well, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, I have number 17 in your packet as a temporary liquor license for the Blue Earth County Fair Association. They're requesting a four-day permit for the fair for their beer gardens. The fair this year will be July 25th through the 28th.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the temporary liquor license for the fair. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the liquor license for the fair.
Item number 18 is also related to the Blue Earth County Fair Association. They're requesting a application to conduct excluded bingo, so a gambling permit for the bingo activity at the fair.
A motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the gambling permit for the fair. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the gambling permit.
Item number 19 in your packet is a request from Morgan Creek Vineyard. They've submitted the required paperwork to renew their on-sale liquor license. This license would allow Morgan Creek to sell beer in accordance with the Blue Earth County Farm Winery Ordinance. And so this request has been reviewed and we're recommending approval.
I'll move it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the liquor license for Morgan Creek. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the Morgan Creek Vineyard liquor license.
Item number 20 in your packet is a request from the sheriff to approve the renewal of a joint powers agreement. This joint powers agreement really deals with the records management system as well as the computer-aided dispatch systems that are utilized by law enforcement in the area. And so this joint powers agreement would be renewed for an additional 5-year period.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the South Central Joint Powers Board. Any discussion? Another good program that the sheriff's involved in. Good to see all those people teaming up. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the South Central Joint Powers Agreement.
Item number 21 is a bit of a cleanup issue. Back in January, the board did approve the publisher bids that were received, which included an item for the delinquent tax list. We were recently made aware that Minnesota Statute 279.08 requires that designation be made by a resolution. So rather than just a kind of average motion, they want a formal resolution that then goes to the district court administrator. And so we have provided a resolution for the board's consideration that would be retroactive to that January 2nd approval.
I would move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second for the tax list resolution. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the delinquent tax list resolution.
Item number 22 is a resolution regarding the purchase of the land for the new Public Works facility. This is a resolution that would grant the county administrator the authority to sign documents for the closing on that property. You'll recall back last year, I believe it was May, that you approved a resolution that allowed the entering into a purchase agreement for that property. We're at the point where that purchase agreement says the closing would be conducted by July 1st of this year. And so we're trying to get in a position so that we have all the proper approvals to complete the closing on that property, which includes this resolution granting the county administrative authority to sign on behalf of the county board. Obviously, you saw maybe in the paper today that there has been a lawsuit that has been filed against the township regarding the conditional use permit that's been granted to the county. We continue to work with the county attorney's office and other advisors to work through kind of our role in that. We are not named as a defendant, so we're not technically a direct participant in that lawsuit. And from my perspective, we believe the township board acted appropriately in their review of our conditional use permit application, but that is a consideration, obviously, as we move forward with this land purchase. And so we'll continue to consult with our appropriate advisors, even as early as tomorrow morning. We have some time scheduled with an attorney to review things. So I bring it forward for the board's consideration today, knowing that there are a number of considerations out there.
I'm going to move approval.
A second.
Got a motion and a second for the Public Works real estate acquisition. Any discussion?
Gotta be.
Yeah, long time coming, a lot of work. Appreciate all the information, Bob, and the challenges that we still have in front of us. I think we're well aware of the things we have going on, so I think we're still ready to move forward. Any other questions, discussion? Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the Public Works real estate acquisition resolution.
Item number 23 in your packet is the financial status report for April 30th. This is the month where you see kind of our lowest point because we have not collected the first half taxes yet. So you'll see when you compare the total revenues of $22.2 million against the total expenditures of 36.8, we are consuming fund balance for this first 4 months of the year. A couple of things maybe to note on the top of that first page is our state and federal revenues are running a little higher than last year, but are still a little bit below budget. So that's an area to continue to watch. Also would draw your attention to the transportation sales tax revenue. We are down 13% from the revenues last year, which is a bit of a surprise to me, and I continue to watch those monthly revenues coming in, and it just is something we haven't seen for a number of years, so it is an area that has caught my attention, certainly. On the expenditure side, you'll see that our total expenditures are at about 29% of the budget, and we should be at about 33%. Some of that has to do with the fact that we're just starting the road construction season, so our contracts and fees line is a little bit below our budget target, which is typical at this point in the year. Our personal services, our wages and benefits are a little bit over budget, and that is obviously reflective of some of the market adjustments we've had to do in terms of retaining and recruiting staff. Towards the bottom of the page is the enterprise fund, the Ponderosa landfill. You'll see there that total revenues are about 1.3 million against expenses of 1.8. So again, a bit of a deficit situation. A lot of that comes from that machinery and equipment line. We have a $942,000 expenditure already in 2024 there. We should be able to make that up as the year progresses. The second page then shows our cash and investment balances. You'll see towards the top, the total available funds are at 67.4 million. Our target would be at 62.5, so we're just slightly ahead of our target in terms of our operating needs. And then towards the bottom, you'll see a line titled Total County Funds. We sit at $126.7 million. Again, continue to sit in a solid cash position. But I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have on the financial status report.
Any questions or comments?
No.
It's a good report. I really appreciate that report every month. All right. If there's no other business for the good of the order, we will move into reports from the commissioners. Patty, I'm going to start with you.
You are.
Yes, I am. Right down the line.
Well, after the last board meeting, I attended the county government event at the Government Center on the 23rd and on the 24th at the Justice Center. Then on the 26th, attended the safety lunch and county government appreciation out at Highway. April 29th, I had my FIGA call for NACO. May 3rd, TDS Budget and Finance Committee. May 6th through the 10th, I attended the NACO WIR conference. And yesterday, I did the AMC Ledge call. And that is my report.
Thank you, Patty. Vance.
All right, after our last board meeting, I attended on the 25th a Star Tribune event that was held at the Pickle Barn for local officials. It was kind of an interesting event. On the 26th, I had a Farm Advisory Committee meeting. On the 1st of May, we had our department head meeting. On the 2nd, I had a MRCI executive board call, and then I had a NACO transportation Zoom meeting. Went with Patty on from the 6th through the 10th to the WIR conference. And yesterday I had a detox meeting in New Ulm. And that would be the end of my report.
Okay. Thank you, Vance. Mark.
Okay. Just like Patty, I did have the employee appreciation get-togethers here early, and then the department head meeting on May 1st, and then I had a mic just online on May 8th, and that actually concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Other than the couple that I attended that were already mentioned, I had a planning and zoning drainage meeting that we met with the staff just to talk about the issues we have going on with the drainage and planning out in the rural area. Had some discussion on the County Ditch 26 project we got coming up, and I had my legislative meeting and several county road, township gravel road issues and dealing with them with the rains and not the rains, and then ongoing planning items and ditch items. And that is my report. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, I would entertain a motion to recess.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are recessed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dave.